Bad faith is Jean-Paul Sartre's most unsettling concept because it refuses the comfort of moral distance. It does not describe a rare vice or a pathological condition. It describes an ordinary way of living. For Sartre, bad faith is not what a few dishonest people do. It is what most people do most of the time. To understand why, one must first understand what bad faith is not. Bad faith is not hypocrisy. A hypocrite knows what they are doing and hides it from others. Bad faith is more intimate. It is a lie one tells to oneself while continuing to act as if one were honest. It is not ignorance, and it is not simple self-interest. It is a structured form of evasion that allows a person to act freely while denying that they are free. This paradox lies at the center of Sartre's analysis. In bad faith, a person both knows and does not know what they are doing. They are aware enough to act, yet they refuse to acknowledge the meaning of their action. They oscillate between seeing themselves as a free subject and as a determined object, depending on which view is more convenient at the moment. This oscillation is not accidental. It is motivated. Freedom, as Sartre understands it, is unbearable when taken seriously. It exposes the individual as the source of their actions, without guarantees and without refuge. Bad faith offers relief from this exposure. The most common form of bad faith involves turning oneself into a thing. People describe themselves as if they were objects with fixed properties. That's just who I am. I can't help it. I'm not that kind of person. These statements present identity as fact rather than project. They transform past behavior into destiny. Sartre rejects this move entirely. If existence precedes essence, then identity is not discovered but produced. To say, "this is who I am," is to pretend that one's freedom has already ended. Bad faith freezes the self to escape responsibility for becoming. Another common form of bad faith involves hiding behind roles. Social life provides ready-made identities that make behavior feel natural rather than chosen. One becomes a professional, a parent, a citizen, a worker. These roles come with scripts. Scripts reduce anguish by telling people what to do. Sartre does not deny the reality of roles. He denies their authority. To occupy a role is still to choose to occupy it, to perform it in a particular way, and to accept what it justifies. Bad faith occurs when one treats the role as if it acted in one's place. The classic example Sartre gives is the waiter who convinces himself that he is nothing but a waiter. He moves, speaks, and behaves as if his role fully defines him. By identifying completely with the role, he denies the freedom he exercises in performing it. He becomes an object in his own eyes. This reduction provides comfort. If one is nothing but a role, then one is not responsible for exceeding it or resisting it. One can say, "This is simply what is required." Sartre insists that this is a lie told for the sake of relief. Bad faith also appears in moral language. People often claim that they acted out of duty, loyalty, or obligation. These claims are not always false, but they become bad faith when they are used to deny choice. To say "I had to" is to pretend that one did not decide to obey. Sartre's philosophy does not deny that obedience can be rational, prudent, or even necessary. It denies that obedience is ever automatic. One chooses to obey rather than resist, even when resistance is dangerous or costly. Bad faith begins when this choice is erased from one's own account. What makes bad faith so pervasive is that it is socially reinforced. Institutions depend on it. Bureaucracy relies on people seeing themselves as functions rather than agents. Hierarchies function smoothly when individuals do not reflect on the meaning of their actions. Bad faith becomes normal, even virtuous. Sartre believes modern societies are especially skilled at cultivating this condition. Specialization allows people to focus narrowly on their task while ignoring its wider implications. Responsibility becomes fragmented. No one feels fully accountable. Bad faith thrives in this fragmentation. It allows individuals to participate in systems of harm while maintaining a sense of personal innocence. One tells oneself that responsibility lies elsewhere, with superiors, structures, or history. Sartre's analysis is ruthless here. He insists that bad faith is not imposed from outside, it is chosen. People want to believe they are not free because freedom demands too much. Bad faith offers a way to continue acting while refusing responsibility for action. This is why Sartre does not treat bad faith as a moral failing to be corrected through education or discipline. It is a temptation built into freedom itself. The more responsibility one recognizes, the stronger the desire to evade it. Bad faith, therefore, cannot be eliminated permanently. One does not escape it once and for all. One resists it moment by moment through honesty about one's own freedom. Sartre does not offer a cure. He offers a diagnosis. By the end of this analysis, bad faith appears not as an exception, but as the default posture of modern life. People prefer to see themselves as determined rather than responsible, as roles rather than agents, as effects rather than causes. The unsettling implication is clear. Most people do not live authentically most of the time. They live in negotiated evasions, half-acknowledged choices, and comforting narratives that deny freedom while exploiting it. Sartre's philosophy exists to tear away these narratives. It does not replace them with rules or ideals. It leaves the individual exposed to their own agency. That exposure is only the beginning, because bad faith does not remain private. It structures relationships, politics, and conflict with others. That is where the analysis must go next. If bad faith were merely a private weakness, it would not deserve the central place Sartre gives it. But for Sartre, bad faith is not confined to inner life. It structures relationships, institutions, and entire political orders. It becomes a way societies organize responsibility so that no one feels accountable, even while harm continues. The first place bad faith expands beyond the individual is in relations with others. Sartre believes that human beings experience one another not only as fellow subjects, but as threats to freedom. The presence of another person exposes us. We are seen, judged, evaluated. Our self-image becomes unstable. Bad faith offers a way to manage this exposure. One way this happens is by turning others into objects. When another person is reduced to a role, a stereotype, or a function, they no longer threaten our freedom. They become predictable, manageable. This reduction is not always malicious. It is often convenient, but it is still an act of bad faith. At the same time, people often reduce themselves to objects in the eyes of others. They perform identities they believe will be recognized and accepted. They become what they think they are expected to be. Sartre sees this as another way freedom is denied while being exercised. One chooses to become an object in order to escape judgment. Bad faith, therefore, operates on both sides of recognition. We objectify others to secure our freedom, and we objectify ourselves to escape it. Social life becomes a negotiation of evasions rather than an encounter between free agents. This dynamic becomes more pronounced in institutional settings. Institutions function by assigning roles and responsibilities that fragment agency. One person follows procedures, another enforces policy, another makes decisions at a distance. Each can say, truthfully, that they only did their part. Bad faith thrives in this fragmentation. Sartre insists that responsibility does not disappear in such systems. It is simply hidden. Each participant remains responsible for choosing to participate, for how they perform their role, and for what they tolerate within it. The claim, "I am only a small part of the machine," does not erase agency. It conceals it. Modern bureaucracies, Sartre believes, depend on this concealment. Harm becomes impersonal. Decisions appear inevitable. Violence is administered through paperwork rather than force. Bad faith allows people to participate without confronting the meaning of what they do. Politics intensifies this structure. Political movements often promise moral certainty in exchange for allegiance. They offer identities that absorb responsibility into collective purpose. One no longer chooses, one belongs, one no longer judges, one aligns. Sartre is deeply suspicious of this promise. He believes that political bad faith is the most dangerous form because it allows individuals to commit or excuse violence while believing themselves morally righteous. Ideology becomes an alibi. This does not mean Sartre rejects political engagement. On the contrary, he believes disengagement is itself a form of bad faith. But engagement without responsibility is worse. To act in the name of a cause while refusing to judge one's own actions is, for Sartre, moral evasion disguised as commitment. Bad faith also appears in moral language itself. People speak of values as if they were facts, duties as if they were forces, and principles as if they acted on their own. Sartre hears in this language an attempt to avoid choice. Values do not compel. People choose them. To say, "I had to do this because it is right," is, for Sartre, another way of hiding agency. One chose that value over others. One decided that it mattered more. Bad faith begins when this decision is denied. This analysis leads Sartre to a deeply uncomfortable conclusion. Sincerity is not enough. One can sincerely believe that one is acting rightly and still be in bad faith. Sincerity becomes another refuge when it replaces judgment with feeling. Sartre refuses to allow inner conviction to substitute for responsibility. Bad faith, therefore, cannot be diagnosed by looking at motives alone. It is diagnosed by how people relate to their freedom. Do they acknowledge it, or do they attempt to dissolve it into roles, systems, or identities? Sartre's insistence on this point explains why his philosophy feels so accusatory. He offers no moral hiding places. Even good intentions, even noble causes, even shared struggles do not erase responsibility. One must still answer for what one does. This insistence also explains why Sartre believes bad faith is never fully eliminated. Freedom continually reasserts itself, and the temptation to deny it continually returns. Authenticity for Sartre is not a stable state. It is a fragile practice. To live authentically is not to achieve harmony or self-knowledge. It is to refuse the comfort of bad faith again and again. It is to accept that one is choosing even when one wishes one were not. This refusal does not produce peace. It produces tension. Sartre believes that tension is unavoidable in a world without guarantees. Attempts to resolve it permanently result in new evasions. By the end of this analysis, bad faith appears not as a moral defect to be corrected, but as a structural feature of human life. People deny freedom because freedom demands too much. Bad faith allows life to continue without constant anguish. Sartre does not offer a solution that removes this condition. He offers clarity about it. One must see bad faith for what it is if one is to resist it even briefly. This resistance does not take place in isolation. It immediately encounters others. Freedom collides with freedom. Responsibility clashes with responsibility. Conflict becomes unavoidable. That collision is where Sartre's analysis turns next.